Hello and welcome to today's webinar on how to leverage LinkedIn to get notice and opportunities. I'm your host, Diana YK Chan. I am so delighted that you're here. If you're here live today, make sure to type hello or that I'm here in the chat room. I'm also super excited to have a special guest on our webinar today, Jennifer Urbensky from LinkedIn, to share with you about her career journey and talk a little bit about why you should be using LinkedIn and how to build your brand on LinkedIn. So Jennifer, welcome welcome to our webinar today.
Thank you. Hello from Quebec City.
Happy International Women's Day.
You too. It's so fitting that we're doing this today. Happy Women's Day to everybody that's on the call.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do today is a few parts. I'm going to interview Jen's interview style, where we're going to get to know a little bit about her career journey and what has led her to LinkedIn today. And then after that, she's going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn, the growth, how you can really leverage LinkedIn to build your brand on this platform. And then after that, we'll answer any questions that you have for Jen before she signs off. And then I'm going to also walk you through how to build and optimize your LinkedIn profile from a recruiter's perspective, how you can really make it outstanding to stand out there. And if we have time, I'll review some LinkedIn profiles as well. Okay, so if you're here live, say hello to us there. So what we're going to do there is I'm going to be asking Jen some questions, about like 10 minutes or so, and then we'll talk about LinkedIn there. All right, super excited. So Jen, why don't we start with to just give some context for people, what jobs and experiences have you gained that led you to your current role at LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, you and I have known each other for a really long time, and I feel like you've followed the experience that I've had since I was in the situation that students that are on this webinar are in. So, I like to attribute part of my career success to the fact that I went to Western and then I met you. And so, yeah, I mean, business and psychology degree from Western. And then actually, when I graduated from school and moved to Toronto, I didn't have a network here. So I grew up in a really small town in Ontario. My parents are both like blue collar workers. So didn't really have a lot of connections in the business world. And so I came to Toronto, started going to women in business and young women in leadership events just to start to meet people and get the word out there. Of course, I created a LinkedIn profile. So this was like 10 years ago when your LinkedIn profile was really just like your online CV. And then went out and started kind of collecting contacts. As I'd meet people at events, I would add them on LinkedIn so they were in my network. Took me about 4 months in Toronto with different job applications to finally get my first job. I competed with 1,000 people actually who had applied to be a coordinator of sponsorship sales at the National Basketball Association. And I was super, super fortunate to get that job. It's where I started my career. And not only did I start my career, but I started my career in sales because over the last 10 years, that's what each of my jobs have been. So the NBA, the Score Television Network, Rogers Sportsnet, a digital media agency. And then I landed at LinkedIn about 4 years ago.
Great. And what has been some of your career highlights, some of your proud accomplishments?
Yeah, well, definitely coming to get the job and work at LinkedIn was like a dream come true because I've used LinkedIn for the past 10 years. I like to tell people that I was passionate about LinkedIn before I was paid to be passionate about LinkedIn. And so I remember when they reached out to me, a recruiter reached out to me about 4 years ago asking me to apply for a position on our marketing solutions team. And I remember thinking to myself, oh yeah, like LinkedIn's a business. Like it's actually a company that makes money. And I had just always thought of it as this like magical world where you could go and make all your career dreams come true. So getting the job was a huge highlight. And then in the past 4 years that I've been here, we've actually built the government business from nothing to the highest revenue generating vertical in Canada's marketing solutions now. So that's a huge, huge highlight. Some of the things that have happened along the way, we got Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as an influencer on LinkedIn. We've worked with so many different provinces and the federal government, big crown corporations, to develop some of the best digital marketing campaigns that have ever been done in government history globally. So it's been a pretty wild ride.
Great. Well, for those who are interested in a career in sales, I know some of you here, can you maybe explain a little bit more the day-to-day life of what it's like to, I guess, what you do on a currently a day-to-day basis? Like what is the primary task and responsibilities?
Yeah. So, working in sales it's an absolute dream job, because it encompasses so many different things, and it's such an important part of the core and success of a business. So when you work in sales, you really are kind of at the center of business strategy. You're that conduit between your internal company, the products and services that you offer, and then the customers. And so it's a back and forth where you're educating the customer on, what the product offering is, best practices. You really act as a consultant, given the knowledge and expertise that you have for the company you work for. But on the flip side, you also act as a representative for the client internally at your company. So, a big thing that I do in working on our marketing solutions business is represent what the needs of my customers are with my company, trying to improve our products and services so that they drive the most value for the customer. So it's a lot of strategy. It's a lot of education. It's a lot of relationship building. So FaceTime, and building relationships with customers is really, really important. And then, of course, there's a huge business management component. So here in Canada, I lead our government business. A huge part of that is forecasting, 1, 2, 5 years out, what the business will look like. We get trained at LinkedIn on what are the asks of the business. So, if we forecast that we think that this could be the place that we get to 3, 5 years from now, what are the things that I need from our company, whether that's products, training, support, in order to get there. So it's super, super cool. And like I said, it's all encompassing and uses my business degree in every way. So yeah.
Amazing. Now, for those who are live, if you have a question for Jen, feel free to type in the chat room as well. So I'm going to check the chat box there. I'm curious to know, what's the challenging part of your job?
Well, the challenging part is, the psychology around it is everything that we're doing is we're trying to influence people and we're trying to motivate behavior. And so it can be, really hard sometimes to convince people to do what you're hoping they'll do. I'd say that's the biggest challenge. The other thing, because I work in our marketing solutions group, essentially what we do is we sell advertising to our clients. And so we're providing them with an opportunity to reach the right audience at the right time in the right context. And so we do a ton of training. Because I lead our government business, government is mandated to buy all of their advertising through a third party to avoid, if anyone knows about the sponsorship scandal that happened in Canada, I guess 15 or 20 years ago. So to avoid any sort of lack of integrity or fraud with some of these decisions that are made. So one of the biggest challenges for me is I always have to work with a third party to educate and convince them, and then hope that they'll champion LinkedIn on my behalf to the client. And so it can be a lot to influence those ideas and get those people to really be the champion for us. It takes a lot of work.
Lots of influence, Sam. So what's the fun part of your job?
That I work for the best company in the world.
We can tell you love LinkedIn. Yeah. That's why I have you on here.
Yeah. I have LinkedIn blue running through my veins, and all of my colleagues tease me that I am just obsessed with LinkedIn. So you never want to encounter me at a party after a couple glasses of wine, because all I want to do is talk about LinkedIn. So it is really cool. I'll tell all of you, it's really, really cool going to work every day and loving what you do. So I'm a huge advocate that we all should be pursuing jobs that give us energy, and help us feel this sense of purpose. And until you do, I encourage you to keep grinding and keep working until you can find something where you feel the same way. I'd say, there's 2 real key things that stick out for me that I love about my job. So number one, because I lead our government business in Canada, I get to travel across the country and see this incredibly beautiful country that we live in. So on a regular basis, I'm getting to go to British Columbia, Alberta. I spend quite a bit of time in Saskatchewan, believe it or not, Winnipeg, Toronto, Quebec. And I get to see parts of our country that I don't think I ever would have seen if I didn't have this job. So that's something that I love. And then the second piece that I love about my job is I feel like working on government business gives me a really great sense of purpose. When you work in sales and marketing, sometimes you're working on or for an auto company or a big bank, or a tech company, and you really are just kind of trying to sell a product. Working on the government business, we're trying to get information and messaging in front of citizens that's actually going to help them. So whether it's a small business that needs to be aware of funding that the government offers, or we're trying to attract talent to come from another country and come here so that they can work for the companies that exist here and help to grow our economy. So there's just so much purpose in the work that we're doing every day in this specific vertical, and it's something that I'm so passionate about.
So on that note, I'm curious, what are some, I guess, trends or insight that's happening right now in the industry in terms of like leveraging the LinkedIn platform? What are you seeing?
Well, what's great is the platform has evolved so much. When you asked me the question about what are your biggest challenges, I'll tell you that a couple years ago when I started at LinkedIn, we were a really hard sell in comparison to a site like Facebook or Twitter or a platform like Google, because LinkedIn traditionally has been very expensive. We had limited reach. So when I first started at LinkedIn, we had about 350 million members globally on the platform. Today, we have 650 million globally. So we've basically doubled in the time that I've been here. In Canada, we had about 9 million members. We now are at 16 million members. So the growth has been great. And so the scale was a challenge. For all of these reasons, our tools were really hard to use. Our tools would break a lot. We were very antiquated in sort of the technology that we were offering. The reason is because LinkedIn historically, like LinkedIn is a members first platform. So we exist so that members can be more productive and successful in their careers. Facebook has really been designed and built to be a marketing first platform. And so therefore the design and the technology moved a lot faster towards being friendly to driving revenue and making money, whereas LinkedIn always prioritizes that sort of free flagship product first with all of the engineering and designs that we do. So that evolution has been awesome, where we've gotten to the point today where our products have improved significantly. Our platform has actually been redesigned. So last year in 2018, our flagship product had a complete overhaul. People comment now, and we see media outlets with headlines now about how awesome LinkedIn is, how rich and valuable the news feed is. So that's been a really big trend that we've seen, and one that's going to continue. So we've got products coming out within the next 6 months, like LinkedIn Live Video, so many more tools that actually help deliver the sort of information that members are looking for. So if there's certain topics that you're interested in, you're going to start to see a news feed that is much more designed and catered towards that individual user.
Nice. So Jen, we have a lot of job seekers here. We're listening right now. What advice do you have for those who are interested in a career in tech or in tech sales? What can they do to like prepare, get a foot in the door?
Yeah, I tell every student that's graduating now, I wish I had pursued working in tech and tech sales as soon as I graduated. I look at some of the like 22, 23-year-olds that are graduating from school and joining our company, and I'm like, man, there's so much more ahead than I was. I think the advice that I would give actually applies not just to tech, but the advice is, if you guys really want something, if you want to graduate and you want to get your dream job, you want to start working for a good company, you want to build a really great career, you have to work really hard. It's not just going to come to you. We live in such a wildly competitive world nowadays. One of the reasons I advocate for a platform like LinkedIn is because I think it's a tool that gives people a great edge. I was this small town girl that didn't know anybody in Toronto and have now built a career where I'm considered like an influencer in Canada in the business world. And I have a really rich, valuable network. And that came from, getting up and being uncomfortable, going to networking events, walking up to a circle of people at a networking event and doing the awkward hello and connecting with them afterwards, finding excuses along the way to reach out and stay in touch with them. So every time I change a job, I would let people in my network know. If there was a milestone that I reached in my career, it would be an excuse to reach out and let people know. And just following that hard work and investing that time. Also not being afraid to take some risks. I was criticized by my friends and family a little bit. Like they were hesitant sometimes that I would make changes after being at a company for only a year. But it was because I wanted to progress quickly. And so I would take that risk after a year. If I felt like I had learned what I needed to learn, I would move on to something new. And so I do encourage that people take those risks and be smart about the changes that they make, but really, really pursue what it is that you want. And that's the way that I think that you'll really succeed in your career.
I love that. One of my favorite sayings is pursuing your passion, and you got to own your greatness to get what you want there. So, and I'm really hearing for you, you really proactively manage your career and really believe in like networking to advance your career as well. So that's fantastic to hear that. If anyone have questions, feel free to type in here. So I'm going to move on to the next phase, which we want to talk more about the LinkedIn features and all that. Before I dive in, I have a question from a student here, Jen. In reference to the latest announcement from Facebook, how is LinkedIn planning to tackle future growth as trends are moving towards messaging apps?
Yeah, so I'm not super familiar with the announcement that you're referencing in your question, but I'll tell you that with messaging apps, that's on our product roadmap in terms of from a marketing perspective and a UI perspective. Traditionally, our in-mail product or our sort of messaging product more closely resembled email. And now we've already moved from a UI experience so that it now represents messaging. I can even see right now that somebody's messaged me on LinkedIn very similarly to the way you'd receive a Facebook message. And then from a marketing product tool, those in-mail style messages are turning more to be a messenger style engagement. Also starting to offer new opportunities for like automated responses or real-time responses to people that are online.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Does that answer the question? Hopefully.
Yeah. I know that's a bigger question, more like a business. So I want to talk about like why people should use LinkedIn. I know most of the people have a profile already, but what are really the benefits of it? I know personally, I've been using LinkedIn since like 2004, and I've been an active user since I got into recruiting. When I was recruiting for MBA admissions and as a recruiter at Google, like literally I use it day to day to find talent. So for me, it's a big part is really managing connections, managing contacts, and finding great people there. So what are the benefits, of LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think there's sort of like three pillars that I would look at are the benefits. One of them is the networking and connecting that you talk about. From a networking so actually I'll say all three. So one is the networking and connections. One is the broadcasting your brand. So really, really helping to shape perceptions of who you are as a professional and staying top of mind with your network. And then the third is a learning and consumption perspective. Because there's so much information that you can learn and stay up to date on that's going to help you really exceed in either your job search or once you're in your career and you're trying to achieve your goals in your career. From a networking and connections perspective, number one, you can find the right people that you're looking for. So for you as a recruiter, you're referencing like, I'm able to go out and find people for the sorts of roles that I'm hoping to fill. Or if you're, say, working in sales like I do, you can use the tool to go out and find the right decision makers that you're looking to reach. It's also a really great opportunity to keep all of your connections that you meet in the real world in this place where you can actually speak to them at scale. It's such a niche thing, or such a cliche thing to say, this like doing everything at scale, but legitimately it is. Like one of the reasons that I love the LinkedIn platform, and this leads into my second point, is that once I go and I find these people either online or offline and I add them to my network, I then can use LinkedIn to stay top of mind with them on a regular basis. So, my friends and network like to joke that every single time they log on to LinkedIn, I'm like always the first post at the top of their news feed because of how active I am.
Same here.
Yeah, right?
So I post videos on a weekly basis as well.
Right? But think of how incredibly valuable that is, because what starts to happen when a position does become available or an opportunity does become available, you're the first person that somebody thinks of. And I think one of the things that's interesting when you're a student and you're looking for a job is if you start using a tool like LinkedIn when you start looking for a job, you're at a bit of a disadvantage because you don't have that sort of like pipeline or that momentum that you have if you kind of start in advance and you set yourself up for success so that you're the one that somebody thinks of when an opportunity becomes available. And that's where the real magic happens. So one of the best pieces of advice that I have for students on the call right now is, even if you have 6 months or a year or 2 years, depending on what year you're in, left of school, start using a tool like LinkedIn now. Start building your network now. Start building your brand now. Start becoming familiar with the tool. When everybody starts using it initially, it's not your content, your engagement, your knowledge, your comfort is not going to be as strong as once you've used it for 6 months, a year, in my case, like 10 years, in your case, like 15 years, right? So start using it now. The brand that you build, I recommend that you sort of come up with 3 to 5 themes of what you want to be known for. So those themes are usually going to be things like, what sort of industry are you interested in? So for me, I post a lot about government and tech. What kind of function are you looking to be in? Or, if you're in sales, you might post some stuff from Corporate Bro, or share some stuff from Corporate Bro, or you might post like sales tips. If you're in marketing, the same thing. You might post some things that you've learned along the way on marketing. Another one are certain things that you do in your personal life. So for me, like, I'm a big advocate and supporter of small businesses, local businesses. So I post a lot about that. So it's kind of like, who do you want to be known for, and use those to guide you in your brand building.
Mm-hmm.
The last piece I'll just say briefly about consumption. So LinkedIn is not just a place that you're going to find the right people and promoting yourself, but it's also a great place to learn. For me, like, I use my LinkedIn news feed where I get all of my news and information because of how rich the feed environment is that I've developed. So when things are happening within the government or tech space or within Canada, I'm seeing that on LinkedIn. I'm finding out how to be a better salesperson, reading how-to and tips are some of the most popular content and articles that people read on the platform. So it can be a really, really rich environment to help you learn and figure out how to be successful.
It's definitely a great way to build your personal brand. I know for me, I started creating blog posts actually a few years ago, but then I stopped last year to switch to videos. And I noticed that there's a better engagement, and also have been getting like really like strong leads from a business standpoint as well. And I'm definitely seeing more people like creating shorter posts as well to start the engagement. And someone asked a question here: do you think writing short posts, articles on LinkedIn is the best way to be an influencer, or are there other ways to get noticed from employers and have an edge over other applicants? I'll answer part of that just because I actually recently, I'll share a story. As a student came to me, she only had like less than 200 connections. This is a student, undergrad. And she posted a post about that she recently received a scholarship. And she also it was a motivational message of the key lessons, key learning, something about like working hard and putting yourself out there. And it went viral. It had over 220,000 views. So cool. And her connection all of a sudden exploded. It literally went from like she came to see me the other day, it was like about over 400 connections. All of a sudden it exploded. And people from like top companies or even CEOs were like reaching out to her. And I was like, that's great. Like, this is like that what we call like putting yourself out there, putting that message out there, advertising. And she wasn't really putting, like, although she's looking for a job, it wasn't about that. It was just sharing a message, having some key lessons learned that got people to reach out to her. And so the question here, like, is it the best way to be an influencer? I think that you need to have a combination. It's not just posts, but you can also do write longer blog posts, or you can you can also create videos as well. I've seen a lot of students from other schools in the US who've done really well with this, leveraging LinkedIn to create daily videos or weekly videos to build a brand to get a job in like social media marketing. So those are some tips of what people can do. I've actually seen also, not necessarily in terms of posting content, but in terms of leveraging the platform to get opportunities. So one of the best stories I like to tell is I had a friend many, many years ago. She got an offer to move to Google in Mountain View, and her boyfriend wanted to move down with her. And his dream company was Tesla. So they went on LinkedIn to look for a connection, and they found a third level connection who worked there. And they got on like a video call. And this person referred my friend. And a few months later, the hiring manager contacted him, and the rest was history. He got an offer there.
I love it.
So just leveraging this platform to find a connection and to build that relationship there.
Yeah. Yeah. I like ultimately most of kind of what you do, certainly when you start out, like what you do on LinkedIn, really it should all kind of be leading in the direction that you're going to form like real life connections. So it's great to hear that. And I have so many stories of people that I've reached out to and connected with over the years on LinkedIn. And some of them are like my best friends now, or like some of my biggest clients. I love the story about the girl with the long form post that went viral. I've had something similar happen with a video. So right now I'm in Quebec City. I'm learning French. I've been here for about a month. I started learning French last summer. And after I completed my course, I filmed my first video when I was in Quebec in French. And the message was very inspirational. Like my header text and the video was basically like, I'm super scared to do this. I'm not perfect, but trying is what matters. Like being perfect isn't what matters. Trying is what matters. And my video went viral. I got over 150,000 views on it, which is very viral for LinkedIn. I had so many people reaching out to me with messages of support, and offering to have coffees and meet in person and tutor me and all of this stuff. So it's really powerful what can happen. And you said it bang on, Diana. The goal is not that the video is better than the post, is better than the blog. It's that you have to do a combination of everything. And because what'll happen is a long form post has benefits because it lives on your profile permanently. So that's something that people can see when they go to your profile, even if it's like 6 months or a year later. It also has like a sort of like deeper level of quality and engagement. So with a long form post, even though you might only have like 100 people that read it, versus your video might have 1,000 people that see it, those 100 people that have clicked through to read your long form post are like more invested and sort of higher quality than maybe just the video views that you've gotten. Yeah. One of the tips I love to give for long form posts. So there's two sort of things that I do. I have about 17 or 18. Actually, no, sorry. I think I'm close to 30 long form posts now that I've published. Number one, when I'm like in cabs or on planes and kind of in a place where I don't have internet, I'll use my notes section to write some of the thoughts that I have around something, and later go back, copy and paste it into a Word doc, take 30 minutes to edit it, and then post it and publish it. And I've actually got like some sort of different posts queued up in my phone that give me a chance to say like, oh, I haven't published a long form post in a month. I'm going to go grab one of these and easily post it.
That's called content planning.
Content planning. I'm crazy, crazy organized, in case you can't tell. But it's so funny because I say like on social, it looks like, we just like pulled these things out of nowhere. But oftentimes like I'll have all of those posts in my phone teed up like for a really long time, or I'll shoot a video like 50 times. And the one that you see that me post looks so natural, but I've like reshot it 50 times. The other advice that I like to give is if you guys are doing like a project at school where you're doing like a PowerPoint presentation, or if you're, speaking at an event or whatever, and you're spending time developing a PowerPoint, and because it's kind of a more high stakes situation, you're likely spending time writing notes in your notes section of what you're going to say. Decide up front that later you want to scale that work and post it as a long form post on LinkedIn. And make sure that when you're writing your notes in your notes section, it's easy for you after the fact to copy and paste, put in a Word doc, edit it so that it's, in reader format now. Include a link to your presentation, which you can load in a tool like SlideShare. Yeah. And then boom, you've taken something that you presented in front of your class of like 30 or 50 people. And now you can present that topic in front of your network of say 2, 3, 4, 500 plus people.
I'm so glad you talked about that. Like this is what they call the term like repurposing content. And that's a great example of what like students can do to repurpose content. And I often do this, like I do a lot of like long webinars that are an hour and a half long, and I'll turn certain topics into short blog posts. Like 5 key things to do into a blog post of repurposing, or like a quick tip that I can post back on LinkedIn. So that's a great strategy in terms of repurposing content versus thinking you got to create like new content all the time. Jen, I have a question here. Another question for both of us. What's our take on accepting connection requests from those who you've never met before and don't include a note on why they want to connect? Do you accept or decline? What's your take on this? I'll start first. So for me, I think many years ago, I was like, hey, people need to have like a personal note in order for me to accept. But now I'm more like in that it doesn't matter to me because, I think it's because from my experience as a recruiter, like just a lot of people want to connect with me as well. So having one does help to stand out. It makes it more personalized, but not having one, I'm okay with it as well. I do decline requests if I think they're like a more fishy account. But if it's just something, even if I've never met them, I'm totally okay accepting it. So what's your take on that, Jen?
Super common question. Get this all the time. Similar to you, I used to be a lot tighter on who I accepted. So my belief was every single person in my network, I want to have a personal connection with them so that if somebody else wants an introduction, I can easily make an introduction, etc. Now I'm a little bit more open. I basically will accept anybody who I currently work with, I've done work with, or who's in my industry. So when people connect with me who work in government, I pretty much always accept them. The personal message doesn't matter as much to me, although I'll tell you it's like super, super, it's really great when people do include a personal message. So for example, this past week, I guess an organization ran LinkedIn training and referenced me as a great example of somebody to follow and connect with on LinkedIn. So, and I had no idea that this happened. And all of a sudden, like a couple of days ago, I had like 300 connection requests. And all these different people were like, oh, this group Townfolio referenced you in our presentation. I'm following you because I want to learn from you. And so I was like, oh, cool. Like it taught me something about like, why did I get this influx of people that were wanting to connect with me? So yeah, but the last thing that I'll say though, who you're connected with, so the companies that you're following on LinkedIn, the people that you're connected with are going to impact your newsfeed experience. Yes. So you do want to be really careful that you don't start accepting all of these people that you don't know, especially in your early days of using LinkedIn, because that's more likely when you're going to get a newsfeed that has like memes or inappropriate photos or things that just like aren't valuable to you on LinkedIn. And so you want to be really careful about who you're connecting with.
That's a good point. One of my challenges right now, I have to say, is like I have over 400 outstanding invitations, and I actually like to personally respond to every single person. And I don't have time to do that. So earlier this year, I accepted like all 300 at once, just so that I could get a clean slate for the new year. I don't know. Do you respond to every single invitation that you accept, or what do you do?
No. So, I mean, the other thing that people are going to see too, like when you graduate from school versus this is my 10th year that I've been in my career. So there's a big difference about like how many people you know and how much time you have. So in the early days, yes, I would send a personal message with every request. I would respond to every single person. I could always answer all my emails, texts, LinkedIn messages, Instagram messages, WhatsApp messages by the end of one day. And now I can't. There's sometimes when I post content, I'm not kidding, I will average 200 connection requests a day, given my position at LinkedIn. And unfortunately, I can't get to all of them. I can't respond to everybody. So there's a lot of self-talk that happens, like giving yourself permission to not get back to everybody. And my goal, again, at scale, is that I can connect with my network. So I hope that when you follow me on LinkedIn and you follow my content and you see my videos, you know that if I'm not responding to you, it's because I'm just crazy busy, and it's not because I'm like a bad person or anything.
Yeah.
So
I think a tip for the job seeker is, even if people don't respond to accept your invite, is that if you're looking to connect with them, like send that message, like, either that thank you or like, what you want to learn from them. It's a great way to differentiate and stand out as well. You can be the one proactively following up.
Yeah, one of the things I'll tell you, like there are some students or new grads who have been really persistent with me, sometimes up until a year. Like they'll reach out to me, they won't hear back from me, they'll follow up a month later. I'll finally say like, I'm so sorry, I'm swamped right now, can you reach out to me in the spring? They'll reach out to me in the spring. Sometimes it takes a year for us to meet, but it's great to do and to keep up with people like that. One of the tips that I'll give you, though, I did this when I was a student and new grad, and I see it all the time. Don't write a novel when you reach out to people. Like, I know that in a way, you kind of feel like this is my chance. Like, I really want them to know like why I'm reaching out and who I am. When people on sort of this side of the fence are so busy and they're day to day and they're like inundated with technology and all these different messages, the reality is when they open your message, if they see something that's like this, it's super overwhelming. And so they don't take the time, or they think like, I'm going to have to come back and read that later, but then they never find the time to go back and read it later. So quick, 2 or 3 sentences. This is who I am. Do you have time to talk?
Yes, get to the point. Great. On that note, I know we just have about, we'll have to wrap up soon, as I want to get to the other part of the presentation is, what's your take on whether to get a LinkedIn Premium subscription?
So I'm lucky because being an employee of LinkedIn, I have access to like every single product and feature that we sell and offer. And I definitely, when I'm doing training sessions, sometimes showing people the platform, I always get somebody that puts up their hand and says, you have access to those search filters, et cetera, because you have like the highest level of premium. For that reason, knowing how powerful the tool is when you do have access to all of the features that are available to you, I am an advocate that it's valuable, especially, like I said, to gain that competitive edge when you're first graduating from school and searching for a dream job. I do recommend that if you can, you prioritize the monthly cost. And one of the jokes that I know I made with you yesterday is like, I found it so valuable in the early days of my career that I would prioritize paying the $60 or $70 a month rather than like going to the bar on a Saturday night. Just because I found it to be such a valuable tool. So I'm a fan of it. It unlocks more search features when you are looking for a job. And then it also helps to show you more information on a person's profile. So as you're exploring the sort of role that you potentially like to be in, or the decision maker at a company that you're really interested in applying for, you'll get to see much more information about who they are in their career history that will help you in that pursuit.
Yeah, I agree. It's really a tool to help giving you more insights and more of that competitive edge. So I definitely agree to that. I'm not sure if this is true. If they have the job seeker premium, does it help when it comes to job applications that it actually puts them up front to where they actually are in that priority where the employer will see their application faster?
I'm not sure what the answer is, but if I were to just think of the pure logic of it, I would believe that ultimately it's more about the relevance and quality of your application that's going to get you placed higher on a list rather than the fact that you're paying for premium.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. That's a good point there. I do know just for job seekers here, you can definitely set up job search alerts as well. And you can also flag that you are open to opportunities. So as a recruiter, I know that we can see as a recruiter, if we have that premium account, we can see if we want to reach out to someone, whether they're actually open to opportunities.
And if you have that turned on, like for those, if you happen to have a job already and let's say you're searching, if you have that turned on, nobody can see that except for like recruiters, for example. So
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Great. Great. So thank you so much. Anything else that you want to say to wrap up to conclude your chat here?
I really just want to wish everybody on the call that's invested time to come on today, and they're working so hard to try and set themselves up for the future. I want to wish you guys luck. I know it can feel really, really stressful to be approaching graduation and trying to figure out this whole career world. But I really will say that if you guys just, work really hard and treat people well and be respectful and professional as you navigate your career, I strongly believe that it will work out. And then one of the best things that you can do is help to give back in ways that people have given back to you to help others progress, and to just show the gratitude for the things that you achieve. And all of this great stuff will come to you if you sort of hold those ideals core. And I definitely want to say thank you, Diana. You have helped me, whether it was being my first year Dawn at Western and helping me navigate the new university life, or when I graduated, helping me tailor my resume and prep for interviews. Before I applied at LinkedIn, you helped me revise my resume and turn it into something that looked like it wasn't even me when I read it, because of how impressive it made my experience sound. And then even to this day, you continue to be a really great coach for me. So those that are on the call with you, I strongly recommend that you stay connected to Diana. And I do want to thank you for all that you've done for me.
Oh, thank you so much. That really does mean a lot. And I'm so proud of you for everything that you've accomplished and where you're at in your career right now. Super proud of you. And I'm just so proud to see just where you are in your journey. And just even recently, I mentioned to my students here that, so proud that you've not been nominated with Canada's Top 40 Under 40, and want to wish you all the best for that as well. And look forward to hearing the news. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye, guys. Connect with me if you have any questions.
Yes.
And happy Women's Day.
All right. Take care. Bye, Jen.
Bye.
All right. So for those who are still here live with me, thank you so much for listening to my interview with Jen here. She shared tons of insights about LinkedIn and how to manage your career. So what's next is I'm going to share with you a presentation on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. This is from my experience as a recruiter, having seen thousands and thousands of profiles. I'm going to walk you step by step on how to optimize that. Okay, so it will be about a 20-minute presentation there. Any other questions, feel free to ask afterwards. Okay, so let's dive into that. Give me one moment. All right, so how to leverage LinkedIn to get notice and opportunities. I'm your trainer, Diana YK Chan. So here's what I'm going to cover. What makes a LinkedIn profile stand out? What makes a 100% complete profile? Areas to keyword optimize? What makes a great professional photo? How to create a catchy headline? How to write a strong bio summary? How to build your network on LinkedIn? Oh, sorry, not another slider that repeated. All right. So here's my question for you today. If you're here live, just answer is, do you have a skeleton or stellar LinkedIn profile? Skeleton meaning the bare bones profile where you just have your name and job titles, or do you have a stellar LinkedIn profile here? If not, this training is for you today. Okay, so how to make your LinkedIn profile stand out. Here are some of my key tips just based on my years of experience as a recruiter. And I've used LinkedIn so much as in recruiting. Even when I was recruiting at Google, I've only hired one person through online application. Everyone else was through my search on LinkedIn or through networking or through referrals there. So first is you want to have a complete profile, which is 100% complete. Second is you want to have a professional profile picture. Third, a customized background photo, a catchy and relevant tagline, which is your headline statement there, an authentic bio summary, and sufficient information of each role so that people can tell, like, what have you done and accomplished. Strong endorsements and testimonials, so that will help make you stand out and reflect your character as well. So first of all, before you make any changes, I highly recommend to turn off your activity broadcasts in the settings and privacy before you make any updates. This is because every time you make an update, if it's on, people from your network will get a newsfeed update that you updated your profile. Okay, so make sure it's turned off, I mean. Okay, so what makes a 100% complete profile? First is you have to have a profile photo. Second, your industry and location. An up-to-date current position with description as well, so not just a job title. 2 past positions, your education, your skills, minimum 3, and having at least 50 connections. You are 40 times more likely to get found and receive opportunities with a complete profile. So if you have all these things on this list, you are more likely to get found by a recruiter. Okay. So here's the thing. You need to make sure that to optimize your profile, you need to use keywords. Okay. You want to use keywords that people actually use to search for. So really think like a recruiter. What keywords would they search for? As a recruiter, I usually type in only keywords, not a whole sentence. So for example, like digital marketing, business development, those are the terms I would use to search. So these are the areas that you want to optimize in your tagline, which is a headline there. This is key. Second is the summary section. This is where you get to write up your whole bio, whatever you want to say. Third is the job titles. Fourth is the professional experience. Fifth is the skills. The more relevant keywords you use, the more likely you'll get found and get ranked in the top pages. So this is all about optimizing your profile. So I really want to challenge you to think about what are the keywords in your targeted profession. So for example, if you think of marketing, I want you to map out a word cloud and think of all the keywords that people would use to search. And a great way to brainstorm this is just go look at a bunch of job postings and highlight the keywords that come up most often. That will give you a clue. So what makes a great professional photos? Here are some of my guiding principles to what makes a great photo. It's having that positive feeling, having that warmth, approachable and friendly, warm eye contact, smiling, looking sharp and confident. You are 14 times more likely to be found with a professional photo. So I really encourage you to have a good professional photo. You don't have to spend a lot of money on it. Like these days, you can just use your iPhone, get a friend, in a natural light setting or like a wet background to take a sharp looking photo there. Okay. So here are some examples. These are like real life examples from my days as a recruiter of what I downloaded as like core LinkedIn profile examples to show you. And, if you're here live, like what pops out if you look at photos like this is, it doesn't help when you have like a group photo because that person, we can't tell who you are, or if you're wearing glasses or you're not looking, there's no eye contact. It's lacking that warmth feeling there. So you really, if you look at these photos, it doesn't really stand out as professional. Okay. So these are like actual photos that I have found just from my days as a recruiter. Okay. Here are some examples of great LinkedIn profile examples, right? The main difference, if you look at the poor ones versus these ones, is these look a lot more sharp. You can tell like a lot of them are smiling. There's the eye contact. It feels like they want to connect with you as well, inviting, looking confident. That's the vibe. Like if you're going for like business type of roles, these are the type of photos that you want to have there. Okay. So my question to you is it time for you to get an updated professional photo for your LinkedIn profile? Right? You heard everything that we talked about earlier, how it's so important to build your brand, and having a great profile photo is like that first impression there. Because as a recruiter, when we search, the first thing we see is really that photo on the left-hand side and the name and the title there. Okay. So the next is how to create a catchy headline here. So the headline is really what people see before they click your profile. So what you want to do first is to identify your top 3 relevant keywords. What are they? Okay, just do a brainstorm of what your top 3 are. Then I want you to identify your passion or interest. Identify your unique value proposition. So this is really a benefit statement. Like what can you do for an employer? And then you want to pull it all together. So there's a maximum of 120 characters of what you can write in the headline section. However, if you actually use the mobile app, here's a hack tip, is that they have unlimited characters there. So if you want to write more than that, use it, update it in your mobile app. Okay, so these are 3 steps. Identify 3 relevant keywords, highlight like your passion or interest, and then your unique value proposition. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some examples. I want to share with you some weak ones and some of the good ones as well. So here's some of the weak ones. These are the ones I've actually seen a lot of you who I'll have. Like if I look at a lot of your LinkedIn profiles, like Masters of Marketing candidate at the Schulich School of Business or MBA candidate at Schulich School of Business. Literally, if I click on one of your profiles, I see 20 others who have like this exact same headline. And it doesn't really make you stand out. It's quite generic. So everyone knows that you're doing your master's or MBA. But we don't know what is your area of expertise and what your strengths are or what your value proposition is. So it doesn't really stand out. It's something easy to put on. Many of you have that, but it does not differentiate. So if you're looking to get, noticed by a recruiter, you got to really highlight something more in terms of your area of expertise. Here are some good ones. I found some good ones as well that gives a little bit more information. So for example, MBA candidate at Schulich School of Business, and then some keywords: data analytics, business intelligence, digital transformation. So you see, those are 3 key words that as a recruiter, if they recruit in that space of analytics, those words would come up that we would search for. Or another one, MBA candidate, Schulich School of Business, people analytics and consulting, HR analysts. So there is that theme there. And the last one here, strategy and risk, RBC EY, president of Schulich Finance Association. So this person highlighted the companies that they worked at, and clearly, the focus is strategy and risk there. So here are more what I call stronger ones for you to compare. Here's an example: digital marketing, brand management, advertising. So that's those 3 keywords. And then the value prop: enabling brands to tell compelling stories and mobilize consumers. Right? So this is really that benefit statement, right? This is how you're really going to differentiate, right? In terms of highlighting what you care about and what you want to deliver. Project management, process improvement, Six Sigma train, generates efficiencies in supply chains. So you can tell clearly this person is in the supply chain profession there with the keywords that they've used. And having Six Sigma train is a great differentiation factor. Third, B2C sales, strategic account and relationship manager, connecting and partnering with clients to provide valuable services and solutions. So you can clearly tell this person is in a sales career background, and words to describe is that strategic piece, right? Account and relationship manager is another keyword that pops up in a lot of job postings there. Okay. So I really want to challenge you to think about what's a great headline that you can write that will pique the recruiter's curiosity to click on your profile to learn more. Okay, so this is really so important, because if you don't have a compelling headline, they won't even bother looking at your profile there. Okay, just to give you some insights, like for me, in the past as a recruiter, in order for me to hire one person, and I know this is like based on stats here, I need to look at least 1,000 profiles. So I would search by typing in these keywords, looking at the industries or the companies, and I would go through thousands and thousands of profiles. And usually I would be able to narrow down to my top 50 to 100 profiles that I want to reach out to. Okay. And it's usually typically this headline story, the profile picture, and a bit of that background information that I'll see, like experience where they've worked and the job titles, that will pique my curiosity to click on the profile to learn more. Okay. So this is why it's so important. So how do you create a strong BioSummary? This is the next section that I call it, like really the premium real estate space that you can really take advantage of to differentiate. Many of you do not even have one, or just have a very generic short statement that doesn't really highlight enough information of who you are and what makes you unique. So here are the steps of what to include. Who you are and what you care about, right? This is really that, that passion piece there. Second is, what's your area of expertise? Okay, really, what's that niche area that you have there? The value that you bring to your employers or the clients, right? This is part of that unique value proposition. Your top 3 strengths in terms of what you're really good at. What are you looking for or interested in, right? So if you are looking for a job, like what's your area of interest? Like what are you targeting? Keyword-rich area to draw emphasis to your skills. So if you have particular skills in, let's say digital marketing, e-commerce, project management, those are the skills that you can list out as well, right? The key here is that you want to sprinkle these keywords so that it helps with getting found. Now, there is a maximum of 2,000 characters of what you can write. I mean, that's still a lot of space of what you can write there, okay? And I highly recommend when you write it, I wanna recommend that you only have like 2 to 3 lines per paragraph so that it's easy for people to skim through. So here are some examples. I'm just gonna give you a few examples to highlight my point here. What's going on with my slide right now? Something's wrong. Okay, so you want to keep your target audience in mind when you're writing. What do they care about? Okay, if you keep your target audience in mind of who are the people that look at your profile, that's how you're writing it to them. So here is an example of a great bio summary. I am an analytical marketing professional with a passion for technology. I have diverse experience in B2B and B2C strategy, marketing planning, product management, digital marketing, operations, and advertising sales. I have built and implemented successful marketing campaigns, strategies, and launched major products for large technology companies. In addition to strong business and communication skills, my strengths can be also described as analytical and creative, with a constant curiosity to derive insights from data. I'm able to build unique solutions to challenging problems and support them with hard evidence. Strong collaborative leadership. I take ownership of the problem while relying on the input of a cross-functional team, helping to move from ideation to implementation with successful winning results. Forward-thinking and entrepreneurial. I'm a positive can-do leader who looks to provide and build out solutions. Using data and empathetic methods, I continuously discover new customer needs and distill them into actionable requirements to position my company and its products for success. So if you can see here, I have highlighted some keywords. This person used marketing, right? It showed up 4 times. And the ones in red, these are like words that usually pop up in marketing roles, right? Product management, digital, campaigns, advertising, insights, data. These are words that you can sprinkle out throughout the bio summary. Okay. So you see here, like the ones that I bolded here, like, what word describe you? Because this person, you can tell he really tried to describe himself analytical, which through the theme, he talked about data, hard evidence, like that's his strength there. Okay. So I encourage you, if you look at how this is written as well, it's each paragraph is like to the point and short, but yet it's really targeted to the keywords to get found. Okay. Here's another example. Another marketing one. I'm a strategic and analytical product marketing manager with diverse experience implementing innovative strategies that drive substantial revenue and market share increases. I'll leverage my expertise, my experience marketing some of the world's most complex technologies to develop compelling, accessible campaigns that mobilize consumers. Having launched and marketed global strategies for top-tier organizations, I am uniquely able to translate market research and analytics into targeted, localized product messaging. My key proficiencies include product marketing. As a global product marketer with hands-on experience launching complex products, I create go-to-market and post-launch demand generation strategies that facilitate rapid market share growth. Campaign development. My passion for modern digital and e-commerce techniques combined my strategic marketing expertise enables me to develop holistic experiential campaigns. Marketing operations. I leverage my keen eye for identifying opportunities to streamline operations, achieve cost savings, and promote efficiency across global marketing teams. And see here, there's additional skills of keywords. So you can see here, this is also very targeted, right, in terms of keywords. And at the end, this person had the additional skills of the key areas of their areas of competencies. Okay. I really want to challenge you, if you don't have something like this, is to take the time to write this bio summary. In a way, it's kind of, if you already write a cover letter, it's kind of what you would put in here as your bio summary as well. Really giving a sense of who you are and what you have to offer. Like this is really your pitch, right? Especially if you're looking to change careers, change industries or professions. Your bio summary is your opportunity to tell your story, like tell your why, like why are you interested in this particular area or profession that you want to get into, okay? Whenever as a recruiter, whenever I see a bio summary that's well written, like it really is like a reflection of this person that, that they are serious about their career, that they have a good self-awareness of who they are and what they have to offer. So it is a really great way to differentiate yourself there. How to build your network on LinkedIn. So here are some tips on what you can do now that you've learned how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. A few things. You can sync your email with your LinkedIn account. So if you have a lot of contacts in your email, you can sync it to your email account, and then you can quickly add a bunch of your contacts to LinkedIn as well. I would recommend that you only add connections that you've met before, the people you do know, because I've actually once made a mistake many, many years ago. I don't know what happened, but somehow I had like, I think 500, 600 just got synced by accident. I don't know, synced, and I accidentally pressed a button to add all. And I had some people who declined, and actually that banned my account for a little bit because that person indicated that they did not know me there. So I recommend to just add the people that you've met when you do this mass way of adding your contacts. Another one is what you mostly would do is search through your suggested connections. So once you connect with someone, you can also see like, people also viewed section to help you find people that you may want to connect with as well. Search for professionals by name. So if you know people by name, that's another good one as well. Share and comment on other people's posts. It's a great way to build your network. So I know for me right now, because I share a lot of content, and there are certain people that I really like their content, I often will comment on it, I will like it, I will share about it. And this is a great way to build these relationships with those people as well, because they know that you are paying attention to them. Use the mobile app's Find Nearby feature at an event. So if you are at a networking event, you can take out your phone and open up your LinkedIn app and click on the Find Nearby feature under My Networks there. And if you turn turn that on, and everyone turns that on as well, you can easily connect with a bunch of people at the event there. Okay. So this is a great way to build your network. I know for me, like recently, for example, as I was organizing the networking mixer for many of you here for technology, I would type in some keywords. So instead of searching people by name, I was searching keywords. I would look up, for example, product management and Schulich, or product manager in Schulich, or data analytics in Schulich. So that way I was able to look for alum who work in that area to come in to speak to you there. Okay. So that's how you're going to also look for people who work in your area to learn from as well. Same strategy applies if you're looking for a recruiter. You would type in, let's say, recruiter and say P&G, recruiter and Nestle, or recruiter and marketing. And that way you can really get targeted with finding the right kind of people to network with. Okay. What's really important is you want to focus on building real relationships. So you want to nurture your network and add value. So don't just treat it like a transaction. You really need to nurture those relationships in order to move forward to the next stage, or for them to help you with referring you to opportunities or people there. Okay. So here's my LinkedIn challenge for all of you here today. If you're really looking to build a stellar LinkedIn profile to get notice and opportunities, here's what I want you to do is get your LinkedIn profile to 100% complete state in the next 2 weeks. Okay. It's going to make a big difference in terms of getting views. Add at least your top 10 skills. As remember, you get 13 times more profile views by doing that. Okay. So you can add up to 50, but you just need like your top 10. And you can also rank them in terms of order of sequence as well. Get at least 3 recommendations. These are like testimonials. So this could be from your professor, or from your classmates, or from your colleagues. Ask them for a recommendation about, their experience working with you, or words that they would use to describe you. I have at least 100 on my profile. This is just from my days as a speaker. And it adds a tremendous credibility when you can have some testimonials. Customize your LinkedIn URL and add it to your email signature. Okay, so if you don't customize it, it's just like random numbers. But if you customize it and add in like your first name and last name, you can add it to your email signature. So that way, when you reach out to people, they can just click on your LinkedIn URL and check out your profile there. You can also add this to your resume as well, right? If people want to learn more about you, they just click it from your resume. Find at least 10 new people to connect with. Okay, just 10 new people to network with. This is pretty easy. If you get really targeted the type of people you want to network with, you can easily find 10 people there. Grow your network to at least 500 connections, because when you have at least 500 connections, that's when you're more likely to get found, and it's also easier for you to find second level connection of people to connect with as well. So people that you know that they know. Once you grow to that, it's just a lot more fun, I would say, in terms of networking and using the platform as well. Okay. Post an update and share relevant articles regularly. So Jen and I talked about this, the importance of sharing content, or creating your own content, whether it's through videos, short posts, long posts. Be consistent. You can do it on a weekly basis or every other week. The more you do it, you become top of mind to the people that you're connected to there. Okay. I know a lot of you have some good areas of expertise, or just share your voice, share your opinion of, or life experience as well. That's a great way to put yourself out there. All right, so creating content, video or blog posts, I suggest to have a mix of both, as they serve different purposes there. All right, so that's the end of my presentation. I'm going to now open the floor up to questions as well, to see if any one of you have questions about leveraging LinkedIn or how to network. Let me know. If there's time, I can also review some LinkedIn profiles as well. Okay. All right, so let's see, how many of you are still here right now? I see about 23 of you are still here, so thank you for still staying here with me. Let me know if there are any questions that you have here. So let me see here, one question. If the targeted profession is different to our past role industries, how can we approach using keywords for our headline? That's a great question. So if you're looking to change, what would you put? So what you would do is I would put the primary in terms of your interest. So you can say targeted, like targeting digital marketing. So you have the word targeting or aspiring marketer, right? So they know that this is something that you're targeted, and then you can add in your value prop, and then you can add in something of your past area of expertise. Okay. You still want to highlight your past area expertise, like whether it's, let's say, project management as an example, just to showcase what is it that you have to offer as well. Okay, that's a great question. I think this is why the BioSummary is so important, because you want to explain your why, and you want to be able to connect the dots for them. Sometimes if they can't see how your past experience would be relevant to your new industry, connect the dots to tell them why, in terms of what are those transferable skills that you have, or the transferable knowledge that you have, okay, to build your case. Good. Someone had the exact same question there. Awesome. Yeah, let me know what are the questions that you have there. I've seen literally thousands of profiles, so I can really tell you what works, what doesn't. Honestly, the best thing I could say is I want you to bring out your personality, because a lot of you, and I can go through some examples here, have very generic examples, and when you inject your personality, people will remember that. Like for me, as a recruiter, because I see so many profiles, when I see something that's really good, I want to actually invite that person for a chat. I actually would invite them to connect there. So if you just spend some time adding a bit of that personality, it's what's really going to make you truly stand out. If you omitted some past experiences in your resume, should you also do the same on LinkedIn, or still put everything on? That's a fantastic question there, Peter. So the key, first of all, I want to say is you do not want to have any discrepancies. This is something I really learned when I was a recruiter at Google, is you don't want to have anything that mismatch, meaning that you don't want to come across that you may be lying there. So if, let's just say, let me just think here. If you cut out some past experience because you didn't have enough room in your resume and you want to add that to your LinkedIn, you can do that. But I would challenge you to think about it. Is it relevant? Is it necessary? If it's not, I would take it out, because if it's going to be more confusing to highlight your career history or story, it's better that you leave it out. Okay, especially if there are roles that are just really short, or you just may have that in that transitional type of role, I would just leave it out there. Okay, because the whole thing is that you also want your LinkedIn profile to reflect your personal brand and what you want to be known for. How detailed should the description be for the experiences listed? So that's a great question. So I would say, so for LinkedIn, that's different from a resume, is that you don't really have that, what I call limit in terms of words, right? So technically you can put more in terms of describing the scope of your responsibilities, and you want to add in your accomplishments. So for me, I don't think you need to have lots in terms of write a whole essay, but I would say that if you can have a paragraph describing the scope of work and even 3 bullets of your key accomplishments, that's great. Now, some of you have also asked that, well, The difference between resume and LinkedIn is that if there is, let's say, confidential information or clients or numbers that you don't really want to reveal on LinkedIn, don't. That's totally fine. You can leave it just in your resume. But what you want to do in your LinkedIn is to still be able to describe the context or significance of the work that you've done. Okay. If you want to just keep it simple, you can just literally copy and paste what you have in your resume to your LinkedIn there. I believe having something is better than having anything. Okay. So yeah, that's the question. When describing about past experience, what to include, broad responsibilities or achievements? So here's a rule of thumb. If you want to differentiate, you got to include accomplishments. If you're just putting responsibilities, it's not a differentiation factor. It just kind of reflect on what you've done, but it doesn't reflect on what have you accomplished there. So if there's anything, make sure you include accomplishments in the value that you have added to the company. Okay. All right. Anything else? Good question. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to review a few LinkedIn profiles because I did mention that if we have time, I'll review, maybe 5 or 10 profiles here just to give some feedback, just to share. So some of you who I basically picked out the first 10 people who registered for the webinar there. So let me just see here if I could go in to look at some LinkedIn profiles together with you. Okay. I hope you can see it here. Can you see? I'm not sure if you're seeing this. Are we? Let me see my LinkedIn profile here. Let me see. Are you guys seeing this? Can you type if you can see this? Okay, so I think you can see, right? It says, so here is a profile here. Is it Kumram? If I pronounce correctly here. So let's just take a look. So I'm going to tell you that up front as a recruiter, usually we just quickly skim it. So we don't spend a lot of time. I think first of all, picture is good. Opportunity to add if you want a background cover photo. This is a great way to differentiate. If you want to add something about yourself, like 3 keywords to describe you, your branding statement, your area of interest, this is a great, what I call advertising space, is like your billboard there. So here in terms of, if you look at the BioSummary, it's very short, right? It's almost too short. If you look at the examples I provided earlier, this one, it gives a good summary, certified Six Sigma Black Belt with 8 years experience in business planning strategy using data analytics and insights. Strong expertise in marketing management, supply chain, logistics, and sales. Passionate about innovation and taking on new challenges. So what I like about this is it does give a good summary. I think there's an opportunity to write a little bit more in terms of telling your story here to really stand out. But the summary, I like that in the sense that it gives me a good sense in terms of this person's area of expertise. Okay. So if I look at the role, so here it gives a lot of the responsibilities. Let me see here. Responsible for. Yeah, so this gives them there's some good accomplishment statements here, right? In terms of what's written, major achievements. There's a section for that, so that's good. This one's actually pretty well written, and in terms of it has overall in terms of scope and major achievements. So it really gives a sense, as a recruiter, when we look at it, okay, 5 years experience plus 3 years, 8 years of experience, and now doing MBA, graduating next year. So it really gives someone a good sense in terms of area of expertise. What I would really suggest is tell a little bit more of the story to really differentiate, and perhaps add in a background photo there. Okay. All right, so let's see here. Who's next? Dibba here. Okay, so Dibba here. So I see this is your profile photo. So I recommend, this black and white. If you really want to stand, I recommend something that looks more like business professional as well, like maybe wearing a business attire to make yourself stand out more. Adding the background photo. So let me look at here. Having worked in the field of architect, also tourist destination experience designing the last 4 years, my goal is destination branding to learn about and work on. So it's not really clear to me when I read this line here is not really clear. Like I really recommend to put more in terms of your why message, what you have to offer to really stand out. So here, when I look at your experience, it really only highlights just job titles. Project manager, architect, which I can tell definitely you have architect background, but I can't really tell what exactly you've done or accomplished. So to really stand out here, you really want to add more insights into your role there. Okay. Okay. Let's see the next one. Okay, let's see here. Cornell, picture is pretty good. So this looks smaller when I pop it up open here. So just could be the resolution here. So radiation oncologist, MBA candidate, Schulich School of Business. Okay. So I think here, if you want, you can also add in a little bit more in terms of your value prop statement as well, to make yourself stand out. So I see here that you've added experience at MBA students. So some of you asked if you should add that. I think it's okay since if you're currently in school, you can put that as what you're doing currently. Okay, so that's just that way it doesn't show that there's a gap in your career then, and it's just really clear that you're currently in school. But once you graduate, I would just take that back out. Okay. Okay, so I see here you added your job titles with a bit of experience as well. So you remember someone asked me like how long, right? Like if you look at here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullet points. I think the other person had that the first one too, is like if you want to keep it easy to skim through, like my rule of thumb is keep it to 3 to 5 points only. So to make it very easily skimmable. Okay. So here you do have some accomplishment, like 80% conversion rate, which is good. Not a lot of tangibles, but if you can add that, that will be good. I can see that you have it in here as well. So clearly I can tell, yeah, you have your doctor of medicine. So definitely you're in the healthcare space with a specialty in oncology here. So the question here is whether post-graduation, whether you want to be in this area or not. If you don't, then it's important to add in your BioSummary that you're looking to make a career change and why you're pursuing your MBA. Okay, so that's not clear to me right now in terms of whether what you're targeting is what you've already been doing before. All right, so next here, for Zad here, MBA candidate, Schulich School of Business. So you can see here, this is the generic one, what most of you have. If you look at here on the right-hand side of people also viewed, many of you have the same thing. MBA candidate, MBA candidate, MBA candidate. It's not a differentiation factor here. So that's why I really encourage you to have a more personalized tagline that's catchy, that will pique the interest. Okay. For that, I recommend if you can get a picture. It seems like this picture was just taken was cropped out. That was taken from just a picture maybe you were trialing. I recommend if you can have a picture that it looks that you're looking at the camera there so that you can really connect with the person that you want to connect to. So here, summary section of your experience business manager with a demonstrated history of working in food and beverages, strong sales professional skilled in Microsoft Word, sales, marketing, leadership, negotiation. So this is what I call like very generic, right? I wouldn't recommend putting like skilled in Microsoft Word. To me, like this is something expected in many of you now. Like it's not something that would really differentiate you at all there. So I really recommend highlighting something in terms of your true strengths, even like highlights of like some of the interesting sales that you've done to differentiate you there. Okay. Even though if you think that you've already added in your experience section, it does not hurt to put in a summary here, just because I want you to think about this. When a recruiter is looking at thousands of profiles, they really don't have time to read through every single thing, which is why your section of your tagline and your summary is critical to stand out. If you really grab their attention, that's when they're really going to read a lot further, like to really click further as well, right? Like if they don't click on it, the experience is going to be missed. Okay. So here, what's good is that it really shows clear progression. Brand manager, senior manager, business manager. As a recruiter, I can tell, okay, this person has got promoted. Okay. And they're going to read a little bit more in terms of their area of expertise. So here, what's great is you highlighted that you've coached a team of 55 employees that really demonstrate your leadership there. Okay. So at least it highlights in terms of the level of position that you're applying for could be something that where you can manage people. Okay. I really like that you've also added numbers in a lot of these sections as well. It shows like before and after numbers, like from 8% to 22%. And revenue increased by more than 90% in 6 months. That's pretty impressive. Like this really helps as a recruiter ask, hey, like I wonder how he did that. And that's like an invitation for a call there. Okay. All right, here. So I recommend here, if I look at your skills and endorsement section here, I would not put Microsoft PowerPoint as your top two. I really recommend something more in, like, say, the business strategy, marketing strategy, like put that as a top, not like the Microsoft Office stuff as your top there. Okay, because that's not something that really differentiates. And truthfully, it's not something I would say as a recruiter that I would type in to look up. Okay. So you rather want something that's a keyword that's more popular that a recruiter would look up that aligns with your functional area of expertise there. Okay, so here's another one, application developer. Okay, so that tells me your profession, which is good. I would love to see more keywords in terms of being a developer, like what's really your key technical area of expertise to add more of that to help you differentiate. This picture looks like, it's not about this picture. I mean, there's the background photo. It seems like it was taken at a networking event. I recommend if you can take one that is look just more just having you with a clear background there. This is what I call a bare bones profile, where there's not much information. Can't really tell much. I can tell, okay, these are the positions that the person was in. I can tell this person is technical because being a developer, but that's about it. I cannot tell whether this person was successful in what they've done. I can't tell if they're a high performer or not. So it doesn't give me much insights at all. So if you really stand out, you really need to tell your story and highlight more of your successes. Okay. Okay, so here's another one. So MBA candidate 2019, She Looks Good Business, digital health consulting. So here's probably like in terms of showcasing the area of the interest here, which is good. If you want to highlight, you can highlight maybe a value proposition statement if there is enough space. But this is why I don't think you need to put, for a lot of you here, you have to put the full, like you can just put, let's say MBA candidate and then 2019. Unless you really think that She Looks Good Business is going to really differentiate, but it's not really necessary. You can just put Schulich MBA 2019 if you want to shorten it as well, so that you have more space to write other stuff. Okay. So here the summary statement, again, it's really, really short. It's a good kind of like summary in terms of what your area of expertise, but not enough in terms of differentiation factor, right? This is what I call it. What's the wow factor? If you look at the examples I provided earlier, is tell more of a story to make you stand out. Okay, so I can tell, I guess, this person's specialization is healthcare. So clearly this person wants to get into the healthcare industry. So the other thing I want to highlight, I don't know, I don't see it here, but when you update your link profile in your industry, you can select the industry that you are that you want to be in. So in this person's case, there's one that you should select as healthcare. Because I know when I look up candidates, I usually narrow down my search by industry or profession as well. So for example, I know there's like marketing, advertising, there's like IT, like software solutions, like pick the one that you want to get into. Okay. That's important because that's usually how they'll narrow down their search there. Okay. Okay, so here's another profile here. So I really like this tagline, right? So MBA, PMP, Six Sigma, IT sourcing and track management, business transformation. So a lot of the keywords here, right? So you can clearly tell this person is in that project management, sourcing space. Like these are keywords that someone would actually use to search. So that's good, right? So that's really good there. If this person wants, you can add in the value proposition statement to help you stand out even further. So let me see here. So this person listed core competencies. So the good thing with the list, it's really easy to skim, right? Without reading much, you can quickly skim in terms of right off the bat, you can tell in terms of what's their niche. So what I would recommend is adding more of a story as well in terms of what's your intro, who you are as well, and what you've accomplished. Okay, so there's not much information. I can't really tell what this person has accomplished. So again, it doesn't really differentiate you. All I can tell is, okay, this person got promoted from, relatively quickly there. Okay. So here's the thing. Here's what I want to tell you, like why I would recommend if you're currently in school, you can put the experience here. Here's the thing. If people don't scroll down as a recruiter, if they don't scroll down further to look at your education, they may think, how come this person has had a career gap for over a year? And they may close your profile right away. So this is why it's important then, if you are currently in school, that you can put the experience section that you are in school as well. Okay, so that will help you just avoid that if they don't scroll further to showcase, okay, you're currently actually in pursuing higher education there. Okay. Okay, here's another one. So here, this one, I don't even see a picture at all. So this is where it could get overlooked, right? So I highly recommend adding a picture. Maybe this person has one, but it may be the setting is that people can't see your picture until they're connected with you. So I recommend in your settings that even if they're not connected to you, that people can see your picture because you're more likely to get found and more likely to get viewed if you have an actual picture that people can see. Okay. So marketing, brand strategy, advertising. So these are all like relevant keywords together, seeking new opportunities. Some people ask me like, is it a good idea to put seeking in the headline? I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest with you, but just because I feel like it sounds more desperate there, I'd rather you have something that is more the differentiation factor that make you stand out to click. Or just seeking, you can say open to new opportunities as well. That's another way of reframing it there. So I highly recommend this person does not have any BioSummary to put that because that's like a great way to stand out. Okay, let's see here. So this is interesting. This person added some images. So that's another great way to differentiate if you want to showcase some of your work. That's a great way to showcase a little bit of your profile if you have more of that creative background there. Okay, so this is great. I can tell this person has done, I guess, some of the marketing work there before moving into an internship role. So that is good. So those are some good points here with some good numbers, some good metrics, which is great. I like that. If you want to make it easier to skim, just add a bullet as well. Just add like a bullet here so it's just easier to skim through there. Okay, so under education, they added also the activities are involved in, which is great as well. I do like that there are visuals in this, like just to showcase, some of the work that they have done there. Okay. Okay, so last one here. Okay, so the picture looks good. I really like this background photo. That's a nice one as well too. If you want to personalize it, you can do that, but this is also a good one just to show that it's personalized. Let me see here. So the summary profile. So this is what I call it's hard to skim through, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. It's when a recruiter looks at it, it's so hard to skim just because it's like an essay format. So I recommend just kind of break it out a little bit more. Would be really helpful. Okay, let's see here. Sales and marketing. So that's good. There's the keywords here. Area of building technology. So that is good. Area professional. I'm not clear on that title because it's not a common title I see. So is that equivalent to a manager level or not? And I see here it's regional team lead for the data center. So I wonder if you can put, like sales team, like a team lead or sales team lead, just so that it's more clear there, just because it's not a common one that I see area professional. Assistant manager, I recommend just spelling it out as well, just so that when people look it up, that it's really clear and it shows. So again, if in this case, if you're really looking to target sales type of roles, I really recommend to have more sales keywords in here. So if I just do a quick search, I only see one. I would see it here. Okay, so this is good. So in this most recent role, there's a lot of sales keywords. I don't see it here in the previous roles, which I'm guessing it wasn't. Yeah, it's not a sales role related. Okay. Yeah, so just make sure we sprinkle the keywords so that it's searchable. But I would recommend here in your profile, if you want to add in more sales words within here as well. Okay. You can even put in your profile here that in terms of being award-winning as well, because I see that you've also done a lot. You've received quite a few awards in your recent roles. Okay. And talk about, summarize that you have multiple certifications as well. Okay, so we're perfect, good for timing now. Any other questions before we wrap up here? Okay, so we're back. So hope that was helpful in terms of reviewing some profiles of samples. If you have any question, feel free to email me as well. One more question. Is it worth adding language you have in an elementary level into your profile? If it's elementary profile, I wouldn't say so. If you are very proficient at the expertise level, like at the advanced level, like definitely. I mean, if you're bilingual, like in French, and that the job requires that, it's a great way to differentiate. Elementary level, it's not so. It really depends on how you differentiate, how you define an elementary as well, but I wouldn't say it's necessary there. Okay. Anything else that you want to ask there before we wrap up? Did you find this webinar useful today? Like having a guest coming in from LinkedIn to talk a little bit about her career, about LinkedIn, and learn a little bit about how to optimize your LinkedIn profile there? What are some of your key takeaways? All right. All right. So if there aren't any questions, I just want to say thank you very much for being here today. I hope I would love to see more great, awesome LinkedIn profiles when you're done. Please share it with me. Connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Look forward to seeing you around and around the school at Schulich as well. Okay. You're very welcome. I'm so glad you like the insights shared by both of us. So thank you so much. All right, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye now.